America's way of attacks. We need to step up to get it back. Without our voices, we are useless. So here I am, red, white, and ruthless. It's our time now, the truth comes to light. Our president shot, but says fight, 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 fight. America's song is her anthem. There's only one, and you can have some. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light? This is the song of America's fight. It's our time now. The truth comes to light. Our president shot but says fight, fight, fight. America's song is her anthem.
All right, red, white, and ruthless today. Today we're going to talk about. Well, I guess I'll just put it. I guess I'll just call it Trump's fight to basically survive the liberal attacks on him since he decided to run for president. And this actually goes back to well before 2016. So let me get this thing started first. So I think everybody can figure out that Trump was pretty well loved by the American people, including the idiots on The View and liberals and the rest of the country. The guy had a very successful life. He had a TV show. He's a very popular guy. There's no doubt about it. He was winning awards and well-loved American person. So then he decided to run for president, and things changed. It wasn't that Trump changed. I mean, Trump has been talking about his ideologies for years. He never really, according to him, and you listen to him over the years, he never really thought much about becoming president, but he had some ideas if he were. And so people really weren't really giving a lot of thought about Trump. Then he decides to, give it a run. Then they got worried because he had an agenda then, and that was drain the swamp. So then we've got the liberals coming out of the woodwork. And what kind of things are we finding, especially his second term? I think his first term was really just figuring it out. This is a guy who wasn't a politician. He knew politicians. I think he kind of thought he knew how it worked, but I don't think he really fully understood the depths of deceit and corruption in the American government until that first term. And so now his second, I mean, look at what Doge did to USAID. I mean, completely dismantled a network that was purely hundreds of billions of dollars going through this essentially fraudulent network of funding Democratic projects, Democratic media, Democratic politicians, their campaigns. They're having a real problem, getting money now that USAID is gone. So yeah, that really hurt them right there. But let's talk about the Trump haters. And if y'all pay any attention to my, especially my personal Facebook page, um, which is private except for my friends I know. I won't let anybody else on there, and trust me, I've got a lot of people trying to get on there. I don't know who the fuck you are, and I know it is just to try and get at my friends, family, and post stupid shit, get pictures, and all kind of shit. So yeah, unless I know you, I ain't gonna fucking let you on there. So, anyways, but like I say, I'm on my private or my personal page. I've got some friends who are Trump haters, and I try to talk to them, and sometimes it's frustrating because they're really stuck on stupid when it comes to things that they really d- never have facts about. They listen to this not social media, but they listen to media, and some of it's social media. Um, and they just buy full in to anything they have to say, especially when it's negative about Trump. I mean, they want to believe it, and that's the problem, man. Is they want to believe something that isn't true, so in their minds, they just make it true, and they'll fight to the death, just carrying on this lie about Trump. Instead of figuring out, the sorry, I got a big truck passing by. Instead of figuring out the real truth and sharing the truth, and if the guy did something, then okay, call him out. But if he didn't do it, and you're running your mouth about shit that he didn't do, it's not really helpful to the situation we're in America today. But you do you, and but I wanted to talk about the shit because people are talking about what Trump is, the negativity, the hate, and the all this kind of bullshit that Trump speaks. But unless you walked in this guy's shoes over the last 8-9 years, I don't think you can really understand the level of destruction the Democratic Party tried to put him and his family through. I don't think you can fully get it, So I want to talk about that. Talk about the things that the fights that Trump has had, just from fighting for his businesses to remain solvent, his sorry, um, fighting to stay out of jail. I want to talk about these things because these people, none of it started until he decided to run for president. So let's go through them. So the first one we're going to talk about is the Democratic National uh, Party funded Fusion GPS and Christopher Steele to produce the now infamous Steele dossier. And we've talked about it before on this, so I'm not going to go deep into it. But this dossier was just a complete lie about Trump being in some type of a collusion with the Russian government to change the election in 2016. And that was completely, well, we know that the Hillary Clinton campaign started it. We know now 100% that Obama furthered the lie, knowing full well that it was a lie. He furthered it, and that kind of rolls us into the next one, which is the FBI launched in 2016. The FBI launched Crossfire Hurricane, and what that was kind of as a, I don't want to say as a result, but I guess in conjunction with the Steele dossier. So Obama decides that he is going to approve an investigation on the actual Trump campaign. So what this did was it allowed them to tap phones, and I mean, they presented false evidence, false accusations, and they knew it at the time. They had actual evidence, and we've talked about this a little bit before too. They had actual evidence that disputed their own claims, which they're supposed to provide to the judge. If you say, hey, we've got proof that Trump is colluding with Russia, with a specific Russian or whatever the situation is, but you also have proof that it's an absolute lie. So they go to the judge and they say, hey, we've got proof. We've got Igor whoever, who says he unequivocally has information and knows that Trump is colluding with whoever, the leader of Russia, whoever. But you also have information that, hey, this guy's a known liar. He's lied for money before. He now admits that it's a false statement that was said in a bar, which that's actually true. Okay. It was a kind of a boastful statement he said that he didn't ever mean to take seriously. That's a fact. And they knew it when they went to get the FISA warrants that allowed them to spy on Trump's campaign. So there was individuals that were in the campaign that had their phone tapped and their all their communications were being monitored. And then they later found that there were 17 significant errors and omissions. And that's what I'm talking about, is they omitted evidence that would have exonerated potentially Trump from anything, or not even potentially would have. But they didn't present that. They only presented the evidence that would support their FISA warrants. So then we had the Mueller investigation. After nearly 2 years, Mueller concluded there was insufficient evidence that Trump or his campaign conspired with Russia. So, once again, there's another person investigating Trump in these, allegations of Russian collusion that they found were completely unfounded. That's number 3. Let's get into number 4. We'll get away from, because we've gone over all this other bullshit. If you want to look back on previous podcasts, I went over the first 3 in detail. So listen to those if you're interested, and very detailed information on those 3. 2016 again, efforts to recount Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, driven by Jill Stein with legal support from Clinton allies. What they were doing is they were attempting to reverse Trump's victory. Okay, so Trump wins in 2016, and y'all want to say Trump tried to reverse or to modify the election in 2020. Hillary was doing it in 2016. 2016, she filed a lawsuit to have Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania all reversed, and which would have reversed Trump's victory. Okay, so she tried. She was first. Okay, but y'all don't say shit about that. We're only in 2016 now. Then in 2017 to 2019, lawsuits were filed while Trump was president, alleging that Trump's businesses violated the Constitution. And what they were saying is, and I'm kind of recalling this because I don't have this specific information written down, but I kind of recall it. And Trump had hotels in some other countries, don't remember which ones, but they were saying that these hotels, it could have been casinos, I don't really remember, but somehow those businesses violated the Constitution. Okay, so again, attack after attack, trying to because what if it was found that these businesses were in violation of the Constitution? That's what they hoped. That would have stopped that income flow. It costs money. That's what they were always trying to do to Trump, is chip away at his wealth. Okay, they want to break him. They want to break him financially. All right. Financially, they want to put him in jail. They want his family broken, all this shit. And we're only at number 5. Okay. We got 17 total. Okay. Then media and political allies continued to amplify the dossier and collusion narrative from 2017 to 2019. So instead of accepting the multiple investigations that said Trump didn't collude with anybody, and this was all the entire Trump collusion bullshit was all made up by the Hillary campaign. They continued to push that narrative. So it's a continued fight, to clear his name from being somehow colluding. And why was this? Because they knew he was going to run again in 2020. Okay, that's how they work, man. They try to destroy your reputation, knowing full well that it was a lie, knowing full well it was investigated and it was a lie. All right. So then in 2019, we had first impeachment attempt. Okay. They tried to over a call with Zelensky. So what happened is, pour me some more whiskey here. This is great. I got all this whiskey from y'all, a lot of you folks that might be listening when I retired. And I'm telling you what, man, y'all bought me some good whiskey. And I appreciate it. And I didn't realize how good it was until I started trying to replace some of this stuff. Yeah, it's expensive. So thank you again. Yeah, so this call with Zelensky, away from the whiskey. We kind of do what we want to do on my podcast. So we don't talk whiskey, we won't talk whatever the fuck we want to talk about. All right. So this call with Zelensky. So what he talked about was, number one, he talked about Zelensky potentially looking into the Russian collusion bullshit from essentially an outside. What information do you have? All right, because he's Trump is still trying to determine where the fuck is all this coming from and why do we blah blah blah. The other thing was he talked about looking into the Joe Biden, Hunter Biden issue in Ukraine, where and what happened is Hunter Biden was on an energy board for a specific company. He was receiving payment for being on this board, significant amount of money, and he had absolutely zero background to do the job that he was hired for. So everybody knew that the entire reason he was hired for this board was his obvious connection with his dad. And what happened there outside of this, phone call with Biden, and we know this because Joe Biden admitted to it, is the Ukraine had an attorney general. I don't know what the equivalent is in Ukraine, but anyway, like an attorney general in Ukraine. And this attorney general was looking into fraud or misconduct, criminal activity of Hunter Biden on this board. Okay. And at that same time, and this is actually when Obama was president and Biden was vice president. Joe Biden went over there and he told them, you fire that attorney general and we've got this payment of millions and millions of dollars that's pending. And unless you fire that attorney general, we're going to hold up that money And Biden bragged about this. Okay. Biden boasted that this is what he told them. Because they questioned, they said, you don't have the authority to do that. And Biden says, pick up the phone and call Obama and see if I do or not. And then they fired that attorney general. Okay. Then the money came. Okay. That's what's fucking illegal. Okay. That's illegal. Nothing ever happened to it though, of course. But Biden admits it. So, but Trump was talking about that situation, and now they want to somehow impeach Trump over this shit. So Trump's fighting. Well, Trump isn't really fighting it, but he kind of is. It's happening, and of course he got cleared. He was acquitted. Then 2021 rolls around, and we find out. Okay, we find out that major social media platforms are permanently and indefinitely banning Trump. Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, cutting off all his communications with tens of millions of supporters. Okay. You guys complain about Trump and stifling First Amendment. Look what the fuck is going on there. Right. They completely cut him off. And this was at the direction of the Biden administration. We later find out. So we're at number 10 now. Okay, so completely cut off his communications with all his followers. That's the way he communicates, social media. So then in 2020, we've got, that was 20. We're kind of going backwards a little bit. We've got 51 former intelligence officials released a public letter suggesting that the Hunter Biden laptop story had all been classic earmarks of Russian disinformation. And this was used by Biden in the debates to discredit the story just weeks before the election. So what happened is Hunter Biden left his laptop in a computer repair shop. All right. So they ended up getting into it, and it had all kinds of, Hunter Biden with prostitutes, Hunter Biden with smoking crack, Hunter Biden, all kinds of just salacious information. And 51, and we know it's true now, that it was his laptop. There was never a doubt, but 51 former intelligence officials lied. Okay. Now, this information could have been very valuable in that election if it were true. They said it was, this is all just Russian influence, blah blah blah. But these are things that voters look at, okay, and they decide whether they're going to vote for that candidate. Very valuable information contained in that laptop that they just dismissed by getting 51 fucking intelligence officials to lie. Okay. So Trump had to overcome that. Which later all 51 were dealt with. So after Trump won in 2024. Thank God. So then we have 14th Amendment disqualification lawsuits. So in 2023, 24, we've got states that want to just eliminate Trump from their ballots. They just don't want to have him using the 14th Amendment, saying that Trump isn't, shouldn't be able to run for president. They just want to take him off of their ballots, and so Trump had to fight that. No other president in the history of this country has had to fight so hard to just run for, and this guy's a fucking billionaire, people. He doesn't have to do this shit. He doesn't even take any money, for God's sake. He donates it. He this guy was lost money his first time as president. He was richer before he was president than he was after. That doesn't happen. Okay, it doesn't happen. Look at Obama. Look at any president in history. It doesn't happen. Okay, but he does it anyway. This shit pisses me off. All right, so then we're in still 2022, 24. This Letitia James. We've seen her in the media lately, haven't we? She pursued civil fraud charges against Trump and his businesses, winning massive penalties. In August 2025, though, said, "No, not so fucking fast," and squashed them all. But Trump had to fight that for several years. He was in court fighting that lawsuit that was almost $500 million that they wanted to fine him. So yeah, this shit is insane. Then in 2023, 2024, we've got Alvin Bragg pursued hush money charges, leading to Trump's conviction in 24. And a judge later issued an unconditional discharge, and Trump is appealing the whole thing, and rightfully so. And I did a whole podcast on this. It's completely fucking an abuse of the legal system, and I'm sure it'll eventually get completely thrown out. But what he did was he charged Trump with basically a misdemeanor. You got to understand, at the time, Alvin Bragg was reducing felonies to misdemeanors all over. I mean, that's what Democrats do anyways. But all over all over New York, crimes are being committed, and they reduce them, make deals, plea out, blah, blah, blah. I mean, nothing was getting really, people, you had to do something very serious to get charged as a felony. All right, doing that all over the place. So then Trump comes around. He does something that there is really no victim. But he wants to elevate it from a clear misdemeanor. It's a bookkeeping issue, is what it is. And they disagree with how he kept his books, is what it is. And so and then when they charged him to raise it to a felony, they had to associate it with, I'm trying to recall the exact thing, but they had to associate it with something to do with elections and so on. So that was a federal law. He actually violated, according to them, a state law. And to make it a felony, they associated it with. Now, he had never been convicted of this other law that they're associating it with, which is weird. I mean, the judge was a very liberal judge, so he didn't give a shit. He let it roll, which is another reason why it's going to get thrown out. But to make it a felony, he essentially should have had to have been convicted of another crime as well, state crime. Okay, because state doesn't try you for federal crimes, but they associated it with a federal crime that he had never been convicted of. Okay, that's the best way to explain it. They associated his crime with a federal crime that he had never been convicted of to make it into a felony. Okay, so now we've got felony charges because they just said he did this other thing that was a federal law. So the judge, of course, total liberal, says, okay, fine, let's move on. So then how they get to the 34 counts is there's a 200, and it was a bookkeeping issue. So the amount was $200,000, and they made payments 34 individual payments to whatever her name is, the prostitute, or the porn star. Sorry, porn star. They made 34 individual payments, so they counted each one of those payments, even though the amount was the same. Each individual payment was another violation. So that's how the Democrats get to 34 felonies. Okay. So it doesn't take a fucking genius to figure out this is all going to get thrown out. Okay. But until then, he's got to fight the fact that they convicted him of a felony, which is what they wanted, because they thought that they could get him, that the American people would buy into that shit and wouldn't convict, or excuse me, wouldn't vote for or elect a person who'd been convicted of a felony. Okay. But the American people called bullshit on the whole thing, and that actually helped the campaign. I think I got a shirt saying I voted for the felon. Okay. So yeah, we saw through that bullshit. And now we're at, Jack Smith brought a federal classified documents case against Trump. So they hired Jack Smith. This is the infamous classified documents. So ultimately, they ruled that the state's appointment of Jack Smith was completely unlawful, and the DOJ dropped. It's a done deal now. But at the time, they were accusing him of essentially taking confidential documents from when he was president, despite the fact that Joe Biden, as vice president, had how many fucking confidential documents in his car or in his garage and all over the place, and they just found, hey, he's too fucking senile to ever really even charge him. So his brain is too shot out to ever charge him, and this is while the dude is still president. Okay, so that didn't really work out all that well for them in the end. But again, Trump's having to fight this other new charge against him. Then we're in 2024. Supreme Court ruled on presidential immunity, granting broad protection for official acts of presidents impacting ongoing Trump cases. So again, Trump, it wasn't something they just decided to award him. Trump had to fight for that. So he's got all these cases that the Democrats are bringing against him, just coming out of the woodwork, filing these cases against him. So he goes to the Supreme Court and says, hey, I have some presidential immunity if I'm doing things as president, believing that it's the best interest of this country, blah, blah, blah. So ultimately the Supreme Court said, yeah, you do, motherfucker. And they can't continue doing this shit. So that was a good thing, but Trump had to fight for it. Then 2023, we'll jump back a little bit. The Durham report criticized the FBI for opening Crossfire Hurricane with weak predication and poor judgment, further undermining the Russia collusion narrative. So that was, again, the Durham report, another investigation into the fake Russian collusion bullshit started by Hillary Clinton and furthered by Obama, and they all should go to fucking jail. All right, let's be honest. They tried to alter the election in 2016, and both Obama and Hillary, and they're both guilty of it, and they both should go to jail. All right. 3 investigations found that it was bullshit. And now that we're finally finding these documents that are in burn barrels or burn bags and hidden in offices and all over the place in the FBI, We're finally really getting to the bottom of it and knowing who's responsible for this shit. Okay. It was Obama, 100% Obama. He lied to the American people. He changed the outcome of an investigation to warrant the Crossfire Hurricane investigation, lied about it, and he should go to jail. Simple as that. And I would ask you, weak ass Democrats, what if all this was done by Trump? What if Trump did all of this shit with creating a fake Russian hoax collusion on Hillary? What if Trump had done that? What if it was Trump that changed the outcome of an investigation to warrant further investigation on the Hillary Clinton campaign, and then actually went and got warrants? Okay, what if it was Trump's FBI and DOJ that went and got warrants to actually bug the phones and the communications of the Clinton campaign and folks working for her? What if it was Trump? Okay, I mean, ask yourself, dude, at what point has the way Trump has been treated been fair? It hasn't been fair. The shit that they've done to this guy is insane. So when he gets a little grumpy and he calls it like he sees it, yeah, he gets a fucking pass from me. All right. They tried to break him. They tried to put him in jail, prison for the rest of his life. They tried to break his businesses. They tried to bankrupt him. They tried doing everything to this guy, and he's still standing. All right, that's my fucking president. Okay. So I don't know. I think I wanted to share a lot of these things. I've been doing a little research on it, and I mean, there's just so much that Trump has had to fight just to become president. And again, this guy's a fucking billionaire, man. He doesn't need to do this shit. He could be chilling, not doing a fucking thing, just carrying on and giving speeches and doing his thing and not running this country. But I would say this: look at his success. All right, look at what he's done to change this country. Everything you Democrats thought he was going to fail on, tariffs. Tariffs have resulted in beneficial American trade agreements across the fucking globe. They resulted in billions and billions of dollars every month coming to America that wasn't, and billions of dollars being paid in tariffs to other countries that were taking advantage of the tariff laws and charging America exorbitant amounts of money. And he's changed that. Okay. Y'all thought it was going to backfire, but it hasn't. And the economy's doing fucking great. All right. The border is shut down. Okay. Everybody agrees on what Democrats don't agree. That's their voter base. Okay. That's their voter base, is these people coming across the border. All right. We have 0 people coming across the border now. Who the fuck thought we could do that? Who thought we could do? I don't even think I thought we could do that. Trump did it. Okay, Trump did it. Nobody's coming across. They don't want to fucking come here. They don't want to come here, man, because they know what's going to happen. They know Tom Homan is waiting. They know Tom Homan's waiting. Okay, they're leaving. 1.5 million have left. Okay, voluntarily left. What do we had? 7, 8 wars stopped. We just had Hamas and Israel agree, stop fighting. Okay. This guy's doing shit that Democrats absolutely couldn't have done, didn't do. Um, no, I don't know what else that this guy has to do to prove that what an amazing president he is. Um, I think the Trump derangement syndrome is real, and the people that continue to hate this guy have no basis to do it. They just believe the mainstream media and whatever narrative that they want to put out there. These mindless drone people, just believe it because they hate him. All right. Democrats are in favor of fighting ICE. I mean, when has a Democrat ever came out and said, "Hey, we want you to be, we don't want all this violence toward ICE and blah blah blah." They don't. They don't because they want it. They want turmoil. Okay, they want America to fail. All right, they do. They want America to fail. All right, but Trump's not going to let it happen. You know, there's not enough of these dumbass motherfuckers to make that happen. So, anyway, that's what I got for you today. Hope you found it interesting. I mean, there's so much shit here about what this dude had to do to to fight to be president. Thank God he did, and he didn't quit. And God bless America. God bless Donald Trump. And we're out. We're done.
There's only one, and you can have some. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light? This is the song about America's fight. It's our time now. The truth comes to light.